Hi guys, welcome back. In this video, I want to take you through how I use the sequencer, and the the main reason I use the sequencer is actually to build drum patterns for the drum machine. For if ever I need to use the drum machine live, right? So if we go shift rhythm pattern, what I want you to note is the format of the drum machine. So you have the intro, and then you have pattern A, which is the verse 1, pattern B, which is fill 1, pattern C, which is verse 2, pattern D, which is fill 2, and the ending, which is the ending. So when we build drum patterns in the sequencer, it is going to be with this format in mind, right? So let's just keep that in mind. Right, let's go. I'm pressing the sequencer. I have the studio set that we built in the previous two videos up with my favorite drum kit. Let me just go to number 10. And now I am going to build drum patterns and for us to use later in the drum machine, right? Now, before we get there, I have a slight problem with the standard drum patterns in the drum machine. The problem is that it is usually built over two or four measures, right? And the problem with that is I never can seem to trigger it at the right time for it to go to the next section exactly when I wanted to go over to the next section, right? So two measures or four measures is too long for me. That's just how my brain works. I need to work with one measure. So when we build drum patterns now, it's always, for me, it's always going to be over one measure. All right. So let's give this a try. I press record. I am definitely going to need one measure counting. I'm definitely going to quantize to the grid. It's definitely going to be 16th notes. I need it to be quantized hard, so it's 100%. It's definitely going to be a loop, and I only need a one measure loop, and I'm definitely going to use the click. Okay. Um, so I like to start it and rehearse, right? And then let me see what I can do. You want to do that, maybe? That sounds good. The triangles. I love triangle. Using triangle in my loops. I love it. And then maybe some shakers. I like that. I like that loop. Let's hear it. I love that. So let's actually write that. Let's write that song. And we're going to call this, rename. Let's call this the loop. Um, okay. Okay. Save. There we go. Right. Now we're going to add, remember the format that we talked about in the drum machine? Let's keep that format still in mind. So now we're going to do verse 1, right? So let's click record. click, and I'm still going to rehearse. Okay. I like that. I like that. 2, 3, 4. I like that. Let me close that. Let me stop that. And then I write that song as well. Let's. Ooh, ah. I should have actually kept this in order. Let me just rearrange the stuff. I'm going to put the loop at 126, so let me put this there. I'm going to rename this. Verse 1. Save. Okay. I'm just going to recall the loop. It's that one. Because I want to save it so that. So I'm going to write that song. I'm going to write there. Okay. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. So now we have the loop. We have verse 1. So now I actually do all the parts. Once I've done the loop, all the other parts, I start with the loop, and then I just save it in a different spot. So now we're going to work on, let's work on, you know what's actually the easiest part? Let's work on verse 2. Because verse 2, what I normally do is I just add cymbals. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start, rehearse. Okay, so I know now, right song. I'm going to skip that because I know I'm going to build another fill. So 128 I'm going to skip. I'm going to put this at 129. So I select, I rename it, and I rename this verse 2. Okay, and then I save it. Right. So now we have the loop, which I'm going to use this in the intro. We have verse 1 and we have verse 2. Right? Now we're going to need to, let's say, do a fill. So I'm going to start with from the loop. I'm going to start working from the loop. So I recall the loop, and then I record, definitely the click, start, rehearsal. Okay. So I'm just going to work out patterns until I'm ready. I'm in rehearse mode, and then when I'm ready, I'm going to press rehearse so that I actually record, and then I'm going to record that fill. So this is just me practicing. Okay. I think I like that, or sort of like that. Perfect. Okay. Now, from the fill, I already know in my experience that that crash cymbal at the end, although it's played on measure 1, I actually need it to be at the very end of the measure in beat 4, at the very end of beat 4. And I'll explain to you guys why. Because if we start this, I don't want it to start on the crash. You see there, it starts on the crash. I don't want it to start on the crash. I need this to end on the crash. So now I press Shift, microscope, and then I go look for this crash, where it is. It's probably, yeah, it's going to be in beat 4. You can see there's a third beat. Go down to beat 4. Where is this? Ah, oh, it's the very first one. Okay, so then I'm going to click on move, and I'm actually going to move that back into the 4th beat. Going to move that forward. You can see the cursor moving there. I'm going to move that forward maybe to 470 something. Let's give it at 470, 478, 479. Because I need it to be in measure 4, right? I execute. Okay, that sounds perfect, right? So I exit, I write that song, and that is going to be my full one. Select, rename, insert. I'm going to go full, delete, full, delete, 1. Okay. Save. Okay, so that's right. That's our first full. Then I recall the loop, because I always start from the loop. And I'm going to work on full 2. Right? Record, the click, start, rehearse. Okay, that sounds better. You like that? I hope you do. Okay, and again, I know from experience that that crash needs to be moved to the previous measure. Okay? So both, let me just see which kick it is. I think it's going to be that first kick. Okay, so both that kick and that crash I want in the previous measure. Okay, so I pick that kick, I move it to beat 4, and it's going to be at 470, I don't know. Let me see. $479. Execute. Here's that crash. Let me move that as well. To beat 4, 479. Okay, execute. Let's see if that works for us. I think that does. So then we exit. We write song, enter. We've done full 1. So this is going to be full 2. Select, rename. fill 2, save. Okay. And then for the ending, let's call up the loop again. And then we record, we click, we start, we rehearse. So I'm just going to work out endings until I'm ready to record, then I'm going to press rehearse. I think I'm just going to do something simple like that. Okay. So rehearse. Okay, that sounds great. Again, microscope, that kick and that we want to move. Okay, that's 479. Okay, 479. Okay, execute. And then that crash as well. 4. And then 479. Execute, let's hear. Okay, so then we go right, song, that's going to be our ending. Rename. Where am I? I'm confused. Okay, ending. Okay, and that's it. We have now literally built all the parts that we would possibly use in the drum set, in the drum machine. We built it in the sequencer. We stored it just normally on the machine. And that is it. And that's all I do in the sequencer. Now, having said that, you can use the sequencer to obviously build full-on songs. If you take off that loop and you record, you can actually record all the parts, etc., etc. I used to do that in the beginning. It works. I did it. I was happy. I did it for about a year. But then a friend of mine introduced me to DAWs and digital audio workstations. So I have moved over to building full-on songs rather in my computer as opposed to on the workstation. But if the FA is the only thing that you have, trust me, it works. You can build full songs in the sequencer, no problem, and you can edit it and you can put on the effects, etc., that you want. I used to do it, like I said, for a year, and it works. But for nowadays, I only use it to make the drum patterns that I'm going to use in the drum machine, which we're going to talk about in the next video. So that's the video for today. I hope that I could have helped you in building some drum patterns. And obviously, this is very simple drum patterns that I've built because it's just for tutorial purposes. If I was going to build something that I'm actually going to use in church, I would try to build it as close to the original song, the drums in the original song that I'm trying to sing. So this is just for illustrative purposes. You can go crazy and absolutely build the drum patterns to your liking. I mean, just go boss. You're absolutely gonna have fun and absolutely gonna enjoy it. So as close to the original as possible is better. But that's the video for today. That's the sequencer. The next video we are gonna discuss how to use that in the drum machine. And how we set that up and what the little tricks and I use that I've learned over the years in how to make the drum machine work better. So give me a like down at the bottom, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, great, bye.